We're just looping over and over your Mike Tomlin impersonation. You're welcome, and I'm sorry. I have nothing to do with this.
That's pretty good.
But it was really
awesome.
good, by the way.
I watched the tape, Colleen. I studied the
You
tape
studied
all
it?
week.
Yeah. When I got the, I demand that
She
you
was
come
on
back
all
next
22.
week.
Yeah.
When you said that.
I went back to 17 weeks of Mike Tomlin tape.
That was good. Good job. Thank you, Stace.
Mic drop time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we got to be quick, though, because we're tight. This is a packed show, and Steve wants to say something. I want to talk about Josh McDaniels. I mentioned the other day, because I want you in on this.
Oh, okay.
We discussed, we had a game plan that we're not executing right now. Josh McDaniels turned down the Bengals job. I mentioned that a couple of days ago. Just a little more background here. It wasn't a flat turn down. There were discussions between McDaniels and his camp and the Bengals, and both sides kind of figured out, you know what, probably not going to be a great fit here. So we'll sit this one out, even though the Bengals did make that request there. And just a lot of people around the league said this was not going to be a great fit there because you've got that Patriot way, and the Bengals have a different way of doing things. You know, they're a little more lenient there.
Oh, I wish we had a podcast.
Why?
Really dig in.
Well, it's a little more lenient.
I'm going to leave it alone.
Vontez Burfict gets to still play there despite a lot of the things that he does. So, you know what? Maybe it's not going to be the best pairing there.
That wouldn't go down in New England?
Not so hot. Steve, any thoughts?
Well, one of the interesting things with Josh is you look at his first job when he was with the Denver Broncos. Yeah. Mike McCoy was offense coordinator, who was quarterback coach in Carolina, who was also my wide receivers coach and who played quarterback at the University of Utah. Those two guys did a lot of the heavy lifting. And Josh understood in his first job what it entails. And you got to also understand, too, when he got that job, who was his quarterback? Who did they end up drafting? Tim Tebow. And that led to, and a lot of other things, but that led to his firing and dismissal, basically understanding that just because you're maybe thirsty to have a head coaching job, not every place is a good place. You know, obviously kind of the same situation with Arizona with Steve Wilks, understanding that you have to look at a roster, understand what is going on, because that can really hurt your future opportunities if you don't get to display all of the things that you can do. The same way that Steve Wilks was, and this is me talking to some people, kind of stabbed in the back and kind of pushed to the side and really not given the opportunity and scapegoated.
Stabbed in the back.
Yeah, scapegoated by some people there where there was no accountability of the draft picks that was there years before, and the GM who got to stay, but the head coach was fired. I just find that very interesting. Now, I'm biased because I know Steve, but I also know that he was doomed to fail based on that situation.
1 year is just not a fair shake, though.
It's not.
For anybody.
Back to McDaniels.
And that's why Josh is not taking that job.
Well,
he understands
it's going to have to be and he had last-minute concerns about the Colts, and that's why he pulled out last year. So it seems like Packers are bust at this point for Josh McDaniels, and then maybe I'll wait for next year. Real quick, Chiefs are on a bye. They practiced this week. Some players were in there saying, oh, man, I wish we could have had a bye week to rest a little bit and chill out. You know what? Andy let them rest 2 years ago. They did not play well in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost that game. So a little bit of a different approach. Plus, they had a later bye this season. It was the last bye. They and the Rams had the last bye. And there was a Thursday game mixed in. So he said, you know what? We don't need the rest. Let's get these guys and let's try and stay in rhythm. So they're hopeful this time they'll be in rhythm when they play next week against whoever.
Yeah, and that Thursday game was a late one, too.
Yeah.
So they should be.
They don't need the rest.
I can say that.
You know what? Some of the veterans, though, were saying, no, let's go. Let's practice. Let's stay in rhythm. Let's do it.
They need it.
Smart.
Stay in rhythm.
That's smart. The Cowboys, we'll see if they're in rhythm.